And welcome to a brand new month of November, a brand new month of fuel price increases. And while some oil marketing companies have started hiking prices of petroleum products at the pumps today, Total Energies is selling a liter of petrol at 18 cedis 99 pesos, while diesel has gone up by from 16 cedis 99 pesos to 23 cedis 49 pesos a liter. Already, some OMCs have adjusted their prices upwards 1 week to the new pricing window, which means expect another review in a week. They told Joy Business the increase has been largely influenced by the sharp depreciation of the cedi over the past 2 weeks. And it's not just the market leaders increasing prices. Listen to Chief Executive of Petrosol, Michael Buzenbil, telling us what they are up against.
For us as a company, I think our focus has been, one, product availability. In times like these, what we have sought to do is to protect the consumer in terms of regular supply of petroleum products. Mind you, we have a retail network of about 120 stations across the country. About 70 of them, are in peri-urban communities. And our task is to make sure that all these communities have regular supply of petroleum products, notwithstanding the fact that working capital requirement has increased significantly. The next, for us as Petrosol, and I believe the regulator is listening, we do not compromise on quality. You see, because sometimes the tendency is for the consumer to be looking at the price as it is displayed on the notice, or the billboard. But what is even more dangerous is that you buy cheap product and then you end up spending so much to repair your vehicle, much more than the savings you've made by buying, cheaper product.
Well, joining us on Zoom, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, energy strategist, to discuss this further. So the cedi goes down and the OMCs can't take the pressure anymore. I'm told they are struggling to find banks to finance imports.
Thank you very much, Daryl, and good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your charity viewers. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but that's what we have at the moment. Though at the moment, if you look at the international dynamics, things are not looking rosy. But I think, as we have all alluded, the fast depreciation of the cedi, has caused this massive, hikes at the pump. Left to the international dynamics alone, Brent is now selling at 90. It's still high, but it's quite stable. WTI, of course, in the 80s. It is also still high, but it's quite stable. So if the prices are high and stable, I think it's good for business planning and continuity, business continuity planning. But if prices keep fluctuating or going up, unabated, with no end in sight, I think it will make it very difficult for businesses to plan, as to what to do with respect to this price. So undoubtedly, the prices are very high, and I think it's going to cascade down to all facets of the economy, inflation inclusive. We just hope to, put in the right strategies to be able to stem, this rampant price increment at the pumps.
The Institute for Energy Security has been warning of a shortage in a month should the cedi continue to perform poorly. For now, we are seeing some signs of stability. Do you think we would ever get there?
Yeah, so stability, of course. I mean, we always have to be, very optimistic, Daryl. Optimistic in the sense that where the prices are now, it is just terrible, as a matter of fact. So where the stability will come in is to implement some of the strategies that we've been calling all along. We have very short-term strategies and very immediate short-term strategies. We have to medium and to long-term strategies. The very short-term strategies that we can have, and I think part of it that I always recommended is what I think the president mentioned, that, I mean, we can't depend on single source supply of this petroleum product. And why don't you diversify? Let's look at other markets. G60 states, in fact, where we are buying these finished products from in terms of Europe, most of these finished products products actually are coming from the GCC states. We can also explore other places like Russia. So let's widen the net to look at other potential routes where we can get these finished products from. And bear in mind, even where we are importing this from, things are getting very constrained in Europe. And so it could even get to a time that they might also be wanting to use this product to satisfy their own local demands. So yes, but what is key is stabilizing the city. How do we stabilize the city? I think our import bill is huge. If you look at what is currently driving the inflation as we have now, it's energy costs, undoubtedly. So what we have been calling, the other medium to long-term strategy we have been calling, is to have a robust local refinery. If you have a robust local refinery, all this impact, pressures on the dollar, I think it will have minimized. That would have been a very strong pressure relief. That's number one. Number two, if you look at US in the next month, they are trying to release about 10 million barrels to the market from their SPR, Special Petroleum Reserve, and Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Now, I have been calling so many years that we have bust. We have to improve the resilience of bust in times like this, because this is why bust was set up. So if you look at all these strategies, that we have them at our disposal, yet we don't make use of them. So until we reactivate these strategies and make them robust, I think this chasing of dollar, trying to pump dollar into the economy to stabilize it, these are all short-term measures, even though we need that now to cool down the pump. But I think it's good we look beyond that, reactivating these strategic storage capacities, getting a very strong local refinery base. If you do that, I think it is assurance and a credible conduit to stabilizing the city, if we actually meant to stabilize the city. Oh. The other final point that I do recommend, in these instances, I think if we had other alternatives like EVs, that would have been very good. People are thinking that maybe EVs will come to the market and it will overcome petroleum products. No, that will not happen. That the largest petroleum consumer as we have now, the second largest petroleum consumer as we have now, China, they have the largest penetration of EVs. It did not affect their petroleum consumption. The advantage is that when things are getting hot like this, and you have consumers having multiplicity of choice to diversify, I think that will bring down pressure on hydrocarbon products. And the government can do that by maybe taking out some taxes or making it easy for us to import some EV vehicles. If that happens, I think those who have hybrid cars at the moment, they are not struggling as much as those who are not having a hybrid, who are running, gas-filling run engines. So yeah, these strategies can be reactivated, and I think if we do them strategically, we should be able to cool down the pumps.
You talked about the president's address on Sunday, where he mentioned that they were going to look at secure, reliable, and regular sources of affordable petroleum products to bring reprieve to consumers. How significantly will that impact on pricing, bearing in mind that consumers want some reliefs now?
That available. If you look at energy security, availability is not the only thing that consumer needs. Consumer need affordability, availability, and dependability. These three things are very key to energy security. So yes, like you rightly mentioned, these things, right now I'm tired of talking about short-term measures, but I think the immediate term that the government can do, or all the players can come together to do, is to again revisit the taxes. Yes, we might say that, what will taxes do at this moment? But I can tell you, Daryl, if you look at the tax build-up, the components of tax build-up, and my recommendation is that if the government of Ghana, together with the regulator and the PSP, because we are living in a hard time, and consumer is the only one who is impacted here. And if consumer is impacted, it cuts across every facet of the economy. So let's come and look at the price build-up. What can the regulator give up? What can the PSP give up? What can the government of Ghana give up? Cumulatively and in unison, if they can give us something that is substantial, I think that is the immediate, for where I say, this is the only immediate thing that we can do now, to have significant, to have some impact on the pump. But I think the whole thing is about stabilizing the city. If you're able to do that with respect to this strategy that I enumerated, I think that is that's the best conduit to getting our pump prices.
It's all about stabilizing the city, and interestingly now, it's not about how high crude oil prices are going on the international market. Just to conclude, just give us an update on what's happening on the international scene, because I've seen Brent crude prices drop. over the past few months. What's it looking like on the international scene?
Yeah, so in the international scene, unfortunately, a lot of things still happening within the international scene. But just that our peculiar situation with respect to our cedi depreciation, it has just nullified or overshadowed what is happening. So international scene, of course, we have Brent selling around 90, and the chances are that it may stay there for some time now because we have a couple of factors that could potentially shoot up the prices, and we have a couple of factors that could potentially dip the prices. One thing that comes to mind, that has the potential to drop the prices going forward to the end of the year is Biden the promise of release of about 10 million barrels into the market. If that should happen, I think that could help. However, this is just a short-term measure because beyond that, I'm sure they're going to buy petroleum products to fill that. But of course, this is also coming at the time when OPEC is also announcing tax. So these factors, the factor that could dip the oil price and the factor that could ease up the oil, that could increase the oil prices. They are all in competition. But if you look at them, I think that there's no, it is difficult to see how drastic these oil prices can come down at this moment in time. Because, of course, that we have what we call also recession fears. Recession fears hovering around is the only thing also that can also probably have impact on the oil price in terms of dipping the oil price. Other than that, going forward, I don't think we might see any significant drop in the oil price. It will just stay as this because the factors that can bring it up and the factors that can bring it down, they are all competing, and I think they might end up not finding each other.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman. Great to speak with you, and I see you on the field. All the best at work. Now, economist Dr. Edu Susakode has welcomed government's decision to secure petroleum products from other sources, saying that will help control prices and rising inflation. He has also been reacting to other things the president said during his address Sunday.
Tell the president to speak, and he has spoken to restore confidence and hope and to give government programs some level of credibility, and that the government is on course, they are aware of the hardships and they are doing something about it. The president touched on so many things. Key amongst them are the high cost of living, high food and energy prices, and the fact that he is doing something about it. For example, he has started negotiations with other sources of oil, other countries or companies that produce oil at a lower price, and also when the cedi is stored to keep the exchange rate, I think that will help also to check the price of fuel, because we know the price of fuel is driving the high cost of prices of items through high transport costs in the country. So if you are able to control fuel prices, you may be able to control the prices of so many items in the economy. The president made mention of the fact that the exchange rate is a worrying situation. The cedi is depreciating. Many countries are suffering same because of the increase in the U.S. Fed rate, which is attracting investors into the U.S. economy, and therefore there's the need to do something about the exchange rate. He has been able to get rid of speculative demand for dollars. The cocoa syndicated loan is hitting the accounts at the BOG, and it's going to help us increase the supply of forex. The government is asking the BOG to get rid of all the weaknesses in the forex market and go after those who take advantage of the situation and then make things worse for the economy. The president also touched on the IMF program, that negotiations are ongoing well. Everything is on course. The debt restructuring is on course. The government wants to bring the debt to GDP ratio to 55% in the medium term. Key amongst the debt restructuring is a haircut, and he has emphatically stated that there's not going to be any.
Dr. Edu Susakode there on the president's address Sunday, optimistic that the measures announced will help stabilize the economy. One of a few I've heard that who are optimistic about the president's address. So the rising cost of flour and cooking oil is taking a heavy toll on traders in the bakery and fries business. Prices of buff loaf, popularly called buff root, and fried yam are increasing at major production hubs in the Ashanti region. Traders at Anyuan Kwanta say they risk losing their businesses if prices are not increased to correspond with the hikes in production ingredients. Nana Yaojima visited the area and filed this report.
Bofrot is made of flour, sugar and other ingredients, which is fried in hot oil under high temperature. The tasty delicacy is often taken with a beverage in the morning, but some prefer taking it as snack in the afternoon. The business is the mainstay of the Anyuan Kwanta economy. Travelers make a stop at the busy junction to have a taste of the brown balls.
This business was in existence before we were born.
Prices of vegetable oil almost doubled in the past few days, currently selling at 1,000 cedis a gallon from a little below 600 cedis. With inflation hovering at 37.2% in September, food prices have soared. For about a week, the busy stop at Anyuan Kwanta has lost its main feature, Bofrot hawking. Local stoves, which are production units at the time of our visit, were desolate. According to traders, the hike in price of cooking oil pushed them out of the business.
And the British credit is I want to say 10 million, but I say 1,000. It's 1,000 and see a check here. What for to cry? Who no money now? No 1,000. Says I want the Franco big 1,000. Yes, I buy the answer.
A gallon of oil is now sold at 1,000 Ghana cedis, but the ingredients for Bofrot is less than 1,000 cedis. So we realized we had to put a halt to making Bofrot.
For this reason, the traders resolved to hike prices from 3 to 5 cedis, with the smallest balls going for 3 cedis. They are uncertain about survival of the business.
You have 5 cedis and 3 cedis. They are traveling. They say 8. What's it? 2 cedis and 3 cedis.
From today, the 3 cedi Bofrot will be sold at 5 Ghana cedis, while we sell the 2 cedi Bofrot at 3 Ghana cedis.
Meanwhile, the yam frying business, which is an alternative for many here, is also in recession. The traders plan to increase the prices to 5 cedis for 3 pieces. Adjoa Ampoma is leader.
By the and cost look at this. I want to put so I did 5 million, I could do 10 million. Yeah, dear one, you can see a channel, me and 5 cedi. Ah, you can't me and 5 cedi. 1 cedi.
Unlike the price of oil, the yam prices are stable, so we have decided to sell 3 pieces of yam at 5 Ghana cedis.
It is unclear how the market will respond to the increment. There are concerns the Anyuan Kwanta Bofrot may go into extinction if the cedi depreciation, which is said to be the cause of the price hikes, remain unchecked. For JoyNews, Nana Yaojima, Anyuan Kwanta.
And that's the reality, isn't it? I used to buy a piece of yam for 50 pesos yesterday. The lady said it had gone up to 1 cedi. And so the rising cost of flour and of oil as well, as you saw in that report, having a toll on how much traders are selling their products. Now, still in the Ashanti region, Amansie West Rural Bank is extending its representation in the financial market by rebranding to Amansie Rural Bank PLC. The new brand representation is geared towards resonating with all target communities of the bank in the Amansie enclave of the Ashanti region. Board Chairman Ben Kwache Adefe is confident the new image will revitalize the bank's operation and deliver higher returns to the business. Here's Anaya Ojima again at the unveiling and annual general meeting of the bank.
The Amansie Rural Bank started operating in 1983. The bank presently has a total investment of over 210 million cedis. Management of the bank has, since its inception, managed to keep it in profitability. Board Chairman Ben Kwawu Adiefe says the rebranding is to keep up with modern banking trends.
We are also doing so to renew our corporate identity in terms of our products and our services, in terms of our color, in terms of our performance, in terms of the relationship that will exist between the bank and its stakeholders. We are also doing so to revitalize the operations of the bank to be efficient and deliver higher returns to the various stakeholders. Indeed, we have been very careful and very prudent in making sure that all that we are doing will not be a waste.
At the bank's annual general meeting, a 16% increase in profit margins was announced, representing 55.8 million cedis for the 2021 financial year. Investments stand at over 83.2 million cedis, representing a 9.15% rise from the previous year. Despite economic challenges in the year, a total dividend of 926,000 will be paid to shareholders. Frederick Kwawu is Chief Executive Officer.
We were able to pull this profit due to hard work, increasing our revenues from a lot of commissions, and then also credit and investments. And then also we were able to curtail the expenditure, and that catapulted us to obtain a favorable profit in the year 2020.
Meanwhile, Board Chairman Mr. Kwawu Adiefe has assured customers of better service in the coming years.
We want to assure our customers, our shareholders in general, and all stakeholders that we will make sure whatever deposit that they make with their bank will be protected. In fact, we have a very strong and dedicated board which also advises and gives directions to management. And management is also well out to also implement whatever decisions and advice that we also give them.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, finally, to the Volta region, where the Ghana Export Promotion Authority has engaged stakeholders on the need to add value to their produce in order to benefit from the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. The Stakeholders Forum also forms part of government's agenda for every district to identify one exportable product under the National Export Development Strategy. There's more in this report.
The forum was made up of farmers, aggregators, processors, distributors, and exporters. According to Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, the forum is to bring the essence of African Continental Free Trade Agreement (AFTA) and National Export Development Strategy to stakeholders. Chris Amponsa Saki is the OT and Volta Regional Director for GEPA. According to him, the country has not made much gains from exporting raw materials, hence the need to add value to the produce before taking them out to other countries.
We realize that for the people to understand what the net is about and to prep themselves to take advantage of the net, and then after, we need to go down to the districts. And that is the reason why we are here today. So we brought all the actors here. We have the farmers, we have the processors, we have aggregators, and we have the distributors, the exporters here as well. So we are coming to sensitize them and to also find ways and means by which we can support them to expand their businesses so that we can export a lot more.
He is urging farmers in the region to form unions in their various product areas so they can benefit from various packages for farmers rather than applying for such as individuals.
If you are able to develop products in your respective districts, we would ensure that we get you the market. We get you the market. So that challenge that you face when you produce anything will no longer be there, because we would get you the market. And that is what Ghana Export Promotion Authority, that's what we do. And we want to sign an MOU with you to show you or to tell you that we mean business. If Ghana Export Promotion Authority wants to support farmers, we always want to do that through associations. We always want them to form cooperatives so that when we are helping them, the help is able to reach so many people rather than helping individuals. And so we entreat farmers to form associations, to come together as cooperatives so that we can support them. Even when it comes to training as well, that Ghana Export Promotion Authority has the GEPA Export School that we organize. We can target some of these people and then offer training to them. And that is the reason why we are calling on all farmers to come together so that their challenge, their needs can be addressed by the agencies that matter.
Some participants have been sharing their experiences with Joy Business.
At first, I don't know anything about my packaging, so I don't get access to market. But now I've learned much more about how to package and how to sell to my customers.
I am a rice farmer and a processor, and I also do mechanization. Today's program has been a very effective one for me because I've learned a lot of things. I've networked with a lot of people here because there are a lot of actors who are here.
Well, that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow. My name is Daryl. Kwawu.